Seniors, see this before you buy your first EV. Stay with me to the end to see where the huge increases in cost of EV ownership are coming from. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Little did Charles Dickens know in 1859 that he is perfectly describing the battery-powered electric vehicles of 2023. Some paint a picture of rainbows and unicorns. Then there is reality. I was using AI to research the information for this video. What I got was so sugary it almost put me into a diabetic coma. My goal is facts over politics. I have hundreds of hours of research. I am not recommending any brand over another. I intend that as you answer the questions I give you, your field of candidates will rapidly eliminate models that will be a waste of time and effort. Let's start with a few terms you may not be familiar with. ICE, Internal Combustion Engine. EV, or BEV, Electrically Driven Vehicle, uses battery power only. Hybrid, battery-powered electric drivetrain that has an internal combustion engine that charges the battery. May have a plug-in feature allowing short trips with battery only. Gasoline, you can see it, touch it, and smell it. Kilowatt hour is the electric measurement equivalent to gasoline. Cannot be seen, can kill if touched, and only smells when arcing. As seniors, we've been doing miles per gallon since we were kids. EVs do miles per kilowatt hour. We are also used to filling up in a matter of minutes. EVs are measured in miles added per charging hour, which is dependent on the type of charger being used. The first and most important question is, what do you need the EV for? This immediately selects the price range you expect to be in. A town car, total trips under 30 miles per day, and you can charge it at home, are the least expensive. Smaller battery packs, no DC fast charging circuitry, lower production cost to be passed on to the end user. Question 2. Can I charge at home? Apartment dwellers and renters may not have access to level 2, 220 to 240 volt, 50 amp NEMA 14 plugs. The costs or possibilities may prevent this opportunity. Level 1 adds 2 to 3 miles per hour. Level 2 varies widely depending on the specifications of the charger. A 7.5 amp charger may yield 7 to 10 miles per hour. These figures can vary by vehicle. Know before you buy. Often, the NEMA 14 class outlet required for 220-240 volt operation will require money to be spent to install the 4-prong outlet. If you are not a licensed electrician, I strongly suggest you hire one to install the circuit. Making your EV work for you isn't worth dying for. If you live in a rural area, home charging could be a must-have. I am using the Ford Mach-E profiles I found on the State of Charge channel. The Mach-E is in what appears to be the most popular group, the 5-passenger hatchback, road trip capable EV. These specs are for comparison only. Ambient temperatures can affect the performance for any given vehicle. The included Ford charger specs are: Level 1 charging pulls 1.5 amps and adds 3 miles per hour. Level 2 charging pulls 32 amps and adds 20 plus miles per hour. Once you have decided on the type of vehicle you are shopping for, the next question is, where is the charging port and how do I get to it? If you think I'm kidding, watch this.
Tesla, open butthole.
Literally as a command, you can say Tesla open butthole.
If those cute little motorized covers don't work, or there is an expensive light assembly that can break, you need to know this before you write the check. You also need to know how far you will have to run your power connections when the vehicle comes home. If you cannot charge at home, DC fast charging is a must-have capability. Now that you know where to connect, ask about the charging profiles. Does it come with a charger? If not included in the purchase price, chargers can cost hundreds of dollars. A very serious question. What is the probability you might suddenly be forced to evacuate? And how far could you have to go? This means you may have to be a two-car family or scrap the EV idea entirely. If you don't have a place to plug your car into, you will have to use a charge point to power your vehicle. Find out where they are in your area. It is best to err on the side of caution. If you run out of gas, a 5-gallon jerry can will usually get you to a gas station. If you run out of battery, it isn't that easy. Either a vehicle with a large battery can come to you, there are now portable battery packs, or a truck with a diesel generator that will have to charge your EV enough to get you to a charge point. I did find these little guys. They might be worth checking out. Towing your backup plan could be the answer to range anxiety. Fast charging is another can of worms. There is an old saying, for everything there is a price. EV fast charging is no exception. You must check the specs for the vehicle that you want. The priorities of the manufacturer will determine how fast you can charge your vehicle. The internal battery management system will control how fast the battery charges. The charge point speed varies too. Road warriors with EVs often encounter range anxiety. Fast chargers are the reason. To state the obvious, Tesla's master plan is second to none. Tesla's proprietary connectors, the North American Charging Standard, is slim and efficient compared to the US standard CCS J1772 connector. Tesla has another enviable reputation. When a Tesla charger stops working, repairs are completed in days. The other brands are so busy building out new facilities, and there are a few repair parts in the pipeline. Chargers are often offline for weeks and months at a time. There is more than glitches. Many are vandalized. The connecting cable has high quality copper. This brings big money at the scrapyard. There are stories everywhere that a driver with 10 or so miles indicated will have to drive to more than 2 locations to find a working charger. Another thing about chargers is that most of them are exposed to the weather. Canopies and pull-throughs are very rare. If you tow, you most likely will have to disconnect your trailer to charge. Don't forget your wheel chocks. This brings up another point. There are no standardized rates. Some places add a fee for the time you are connected to the charger as a parking surcharge. This is to encourage the driver to disconnect and move on. Here are some numbers to consider. Nationally, there are more than 145,000 places to buy gas. As of August 2023, there are 20,431 commercial fast chargers across the U.S., mostly off of highways. The Department of Energy claims by 2030 there will be at least 100,000 chargers capable of adding 80 miles of range in 15 minutes. You decide if stopping every 2 hours for 40 minutes of charging, if there are no lines, works for you. And now, as promised, the bonus information on why owning an EV is going to cost much more than it has been. First things first. The government is heavily involved in EVs. The current administration claims these vehicles will slow climate change. Another administration warned,
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
And now, here's Jenny.
On Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm's electric vehicle road trip running into trouble while trying to tout the administration's green push. Fox Business's Grady Trimble joins us live. So Grady, this got so bad that they had to call the police. Is that right?
That is right, Brian. A staffer apparently tried to hold the only available electric vehicle charger for the Energy Secretary by parking a gas-powered vehicle in the spot. That is according to NPR. A couple with a baby wanted to use the same charger, so the reporter who was tagging along on the trip says the young family called the cops on the staffer. The staffer wasn't breaking any laws, though, so nothing came of that call to police. But Secretary Granholm's road trip from North Carolina to Tennessee back in June highlights just how difficult it is to find electric vehicle charging stations and to drive EVs long distance. This reporting from NPR is in stark contrast to Granholm's own enthusiastic account of the trip on social media.
We'll be taking electric vehicles on this road trip, and I'm very excited to point out all of the investments that are happening.
Okay, just recently, Secretary of Energy Granholm went out on a 4-day road trip. Okay, so folks, if the Biden administration can't make it from Charlotte to Memphis without an incident, then how do we expect that all of our non-tactical military fleet is going to get transitioned by the year 2030 without having big issues? Okay, so let's think about that. This greenie push out there for those electric vehicles, it is not realistic. We are living in an absurd world in the Joe Biden administration. So let's call it what it is, folks. It is a road to nowhere.
Decide for yourself if this is a problem. The current administration is all in on EVs. They think they can end internal combustion vehicles by 2035. I suspect reality will push that date out a lot. Those billions of dollars for charge facilities only cover the corridors. Everything else will be privately funded. Rural America is on its own. As you can see, the government is blissfully unaware of non-working fast charger issues. Repair and maintenance costs will have to be recovered. This most likely will be at the point of purchase. I am not a financial advisor. I am an old guy with life experience. I am sharing my opinion. What you do with it is solely up to you. The bloom is off the rose. The time has come for the freebies to end. Typically, the seller will prepay for a finite number of kilowatt hours of charging to seal the deal. Then you pay full freight for power from then on. Do not expect this practice to continue. Now for the other shoe to drop. If you qualify for a tax credit, you must have a balance due to apply that credit to. If you only owe the Internal Revenuers a few $100s on your income tax, that is all the credit you will get. Check with a tax professional to maximize your benefit. If you lease, the company gets the full tax credit. What they pass on to you should be negotiable. Understand what you are getting before you sign. Speaking of taxes, that per gallon road tax on gasoline internal combustion drivers pay, well, the EV is heavier and increases wear on the roadways. This Piper 2 is waiting to collect. The no road tax incentive that states were giving the early adopters are already disappearing. This year, Texas added a $200 fee per year at registration and renewal for EVs. The amount is deposited to the State Highway Fund, Law SB 505. One plan is a miles-driven tax based on the government sending you a bill for your mileage. This means some form of tracking is involved. The taxman cometh, and he is big brother. Also, a maintenance cost that is seldom mentioned. Internal combustion vehicles advertise 50,000 miles on a set of tires. Your EV will require new tires every 20 to 30,000 miles. Expect to spend more than $1,000 for a set of 4. Inflation and demand will drive prices up. Body parts are in short supply. Insurance rates are set accordingly. There are reports of months-long wait for body damage. Check your rental coverage for limits on how long you can have a loaner while your machine is in the body shop. If the undercarriage of the vehicle is damaged and the battery pack is compromised, the car will be beyond economical repair. An EV weighs more, so it does more damage when it runs into something. When struck, the inertia makes it less movable. For example, the Nissan Rogue all-wheel drive Platinum has a curb weight of 3,741 pounds. The Nissan Ariya Platinum E-Force tips the scales at 5,057 pounds. Both models are at their respective maximum weight. Fire is also a consideration. EVs burn longer because the batteries generate high heat for long periods, making it difficult to put the fire out. Fire data is new to the insurance industry. Battery fires will be total losses. The heat is so intense that liability for damage to adjacent people and property will increase insurance rates more than the parts prices I mentioned earlier. Once you have settled on the EV that you want, call your insurance company for current rates. Be prepared for a surprise. Finally, supply is exceeding demand. Manufacturers that are building non-ordered units are showing days of inventory. We are at a point where some brands can be bought from dealers without having to put up a deposit and wait for the unit to be built. Presently, pricing is what the market will bear. Your personal pain threshold and rising interest rates will determine if an EV comes to live with you. We are seeing some manufacturers turn away from EVs. The realities are too far from the expectations that were set. The vehicles are being sold at a loss. This looks to be a situation for years to come. The only profits for major manufacturers are from the internal combustion models. Adoption is waning, resistance is gaining, fast chargers not sustaining. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my, beware the costs before you buy. In summary, the government has a plan to triple the number of fast chargers by October 2024. What can go wrong? How much will it cost the end user? Time will tell. Facility repairs and thefts will be passed on to somebody. Guess who that will be? Higher electricity bills for all. Fast charging parking and idle fees. Insurance and taxation will set the bar between magnificent and money pit for individuals. If time is money for you, charging delays can mean extra food and lodging cost. The only question is, how much more will your EV cost you? From my research, all I can tell you is the increases are going to be substantial. Your kind attention to this video is greatly appreciated. Give me a like and subscribe if you think I've earned it. Comments are appreciated. This is a senior public service channel. Topics for future videos will be explored.